That was a pathetic clap. That was really bad. Hello and welcome. This is blah blah blah. Did a bloop, did a scoop, did a whoop whoop. Hello and welcome to Under the Surface. I am your host Anneli, and this is Pumped by Reebok, and I'm doing a solo episode. I'm not on the beach, guys. It is too hot for me to do any sort of filming on the beach at the moment. So we're in a studio, and I wanted to talk about a few things. I wanted to start with a little shout out to my Reebok Nano X4s. So I've been rehabbing and coming back from a pretty strange foot and ankle injury, and so as I've gotten back into the gym, they have helped me feel like stable and supported, and I've hit some PBs lately, so bit of a product placement shout out there. No, I've really been enjoying them. And just the little heel lift kind of supports me in a way that I've never really worn lifting shoes before. So anyway, really love it. So today I kind of wanted to talk about journaling. Super strange for me because like it's something that my psychologist has been telling me to do for a really long time, and I just could never hack it, man. Like my psych would sit across from me and be like, have you tried journaling like for years? And I'd be like, all right, I'll give it a go. And every time I gave it a go, it just did not hit. Like I could not do it. I had tried journals with prompts. I had tried just writing down all my thoughts on a piece of paper. I tried these brain dumps, which is like kind of like a prompted journal, but in like creative spaces. I don't really know. But anyway, so I had tried everything, and I am going through a process at the moment of adding some things into my routine, and I really wanted to start journaling, and I'm stubborn as, so I was like, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to tell you how it worked for me, and hopefully that like it inspires like just a little bit of something for you to do the same. So I made a day out of going to secondhand bookstores in Perth, like about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And I was like, I want to go to all these secondhand bookstores and I want to get some poetry books, like some old poetry books, the type that only have 1 or 2 lines on each page. And initially my idea was to do little like doodles and watercolor paintings and things underneath the lines of poetry. And so as I was going through these random bookstores, the secondhand bookstores, I was picking up all these beautiful poetry books with like, they'd clearly been well loved and well read. And I think the coolest thing is when you open the first page and there's usually like a note to someone from someone. Anyway, I digress. So I picked up this poetry book at a bookstore in Freo, and first of all it was like so worn in, like there was like water stains all over it, and like the first line of a poem that I read was something about the understanding heart, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it made me think about like the person that I was with and how they were kind of understanding too, and then I was like, oh, I think I'm going to take this home with me. So I took home this poetry book, and I was sitting at home, and the idea was to just do little doodles and sketches and little kind of drawings underneath each line. And as I was doing that, I was drawing some things. I just turned the page and then I started writing about the things that I was reading, which was super weird. I just kind of let it happen, and I was like, I'm going to write about how this poem makes me feel, or like how these words make me feel. And then I had kind of written a whole page, and I was like, this is still just going to be a book where I do watercolor drawings though. Like I'm not journaling, I'm not doing it. Like I'm just drawing. And then the next day I was like, all right, I'm going to draw some more in this sketchbook is what I was calling it at first. Like draw some more in this little sketchbook of mine. And then I flipped over the page and I read another line, and it got me writing about like a conversation that I had with my dad. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to write about this another time. And so that was kind of what got me started. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to write about these poems that I'm reading and try and make it a habit. So what initially started as like, I'm just going to draw little watercolor paintings turned into, I'm going to read these poems and then write about how they make me feel. And then after like 5 days of doing that, I realized that every time I had a thought in my head, I just wanted to put it down on paper. And then I was like, oh, this is actually really helping me. So I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna try and get this in frame. This is the poetry book that I picked up. It is really run down and like water stained. And like I said, the first time I picked it up, like I was literally just like drawing doodles like on it. And then by the time I got to like one of the other pages, I really started writing. So one of the poems was about outstretched hands of friends and platonic love and the things that we find in other people. And then I just wrote down from there a conversation that I had with a friend that day. And it's just really helped me with like guiding my thoughts. And like, I'm a creative person with a creative mind. I don't really sit in like any sort of like A, B, C, D type planning. I'm not great with checklists. I'm not great with goal setting either. What's really like helped me with this whole journaling journey, that's a bit of a tongue twister that I'm on, is the fact that I feel like it's a creative thing for me to kind of like read and put something down that I'm thinking about, and I'm not setting goals, I'm setting intentions. And so that is how I have started journaling. It's been like 4 weeks. And I'm going to give an example of how it helped me recently. I woke up on Sunday and I was feeling like so tired. I was having a very mentally draining day. Like from the moment I woke up, you know, those days when you wake up and your eyeballs are just like glued to the back of your head. I kind of felt like that. So I was kind of like trying to resist the urge to not go to my phone straight away. And I really wanted to just like roll over, scroll through my phone and kind of get stuck in the doom scrolling of TikTok. And I made like a conscious choice, like against everything that I wanted to do, to grab my journal and go sit on the beach. So I grabbed my journal and my dog and I went down to the beach and I sat there and I wrote down the things that I was anxious about and the things that I was feeling in my head that I was kind of too scared to say out loud, or too scared to like say to a friend, or too scared to say to a coach or something. And I just put it all down on the piece of paper, and it felt better to not have it like circling around in my head, and then seeing it on the paper and then reading it over. And then I just kind of read it, and then I closed the book and then went for a swim. And I just felt so much lighter, and I'd never really experienced that feeling before doing the journaling stuff. So like, I don't know, it was something about like putting down the things that was troubling me in my brain, putting them on a piece of paper, knowing that I'm not going to be judged, and I'm not judging myself for what I'm putting in this book that no one's ever going to see, that I've just shown everyone, but no one's ever going to see these words. And then I just get to close the page. Like, that's safe. It's a safe space because it's only for me, and it's written in a way that's for me and by me. And then I just closed the book and went for a swim. So that is how I started. And so it's been for 3-4 weeks, and I'm hopefully trying to continue. It's something I'm kind of putting a lot of effort in to do every day. And look, for you, it might not be a poetry book or any sort of like creative thing, but I would encourage you to like try and find something that works for you, because I think it's hard to get stuck into this, like it has to be a like, dear diary, my goals for 2024 are this, and like these are the KPIs I'm trying to hit in my life. Like that's not something that works for everyone. So I think that whether it's a book, a sketchbook, a journal, like a newspaper, like it could start with you just writing on random scraps of paper or recycled paper or whatever it is. Just find something that works for you to get the thoughts that are in here onto a piece of paper. And whether that's prompts or not, it actually is super beneficial to not have them circling around there, because you can't judge the thoughts that no one else can read when they're on that paper and you close that book and you go for a swim. So there's my little tidbit. I kind of rambled for about 10 minutes, but I really hope you got something out of that. That was a solo episode by me, your host, Anneli. This is Under the Surface, pumped by Reebok, and that was a solo episode, not filmed on the beach.